Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about Lincoln 1-cent coins, small in size but full of history. From early designs like the wheat penny to modern versions, these coins have been in our pockets for over a century. Some are common, but others can be surprisingly valuable. Let's explore what makes Lincoln cents unique and which ones are worth a closer look. First up, the 1981 Lincoln 1-cent coin is a widely circulated and historically significant piece of American currency. As part of the Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909, this coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the image of Lincoln has endured for over a century and remains one of the most iconic representations in United States coinage. The obverse design also includes the date of minting and the national motto. The 1981 version of this coin marks one of the final years before a major change in the composition of the cent took place in 1980 to when the United States Mint transitioned from a primarily copper coin to a primarily zinc-based one due to the rising cost of copper. The 1981 Lincoln cent was minted in large numbers at 3 United States Mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins minted in Denver and San Francisco carry a small identifying letter near the date to indicate their origin, while those from Philadelphia do not. Regardless of the mint mark, these coins were produced in sufficient quantities to support the needs of commerce and to replace older worn coins that were removed from circulation. The presence of scratches on this particular coin suggests it has seen active use over the years. Scratches on circulated coins are common, especially on copper coins, which are softer than many other metals. These marks are a normal part of a coin's history and often tell a story of its journey through decades of handling and everyday transactions. In terms of design, the reverse of the 1981 Lincoln cent still featured the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln Memorial is detailed and includes a tiny image of the statue of Lincoln as it appears in the actual monument in Washington, D.C. This design replaced the original wheat ears reverse used from 1909 to 1958. The memorial design was the standard for decades until the coin was redesigned again in 2009. The reverse also includes the words signifying the country and denomination along with the national motto placed prominently above the memorial. This design encapsulates both artistic intention and patriotic symbolism, making the coin an enduring representation of national identity. By 1981, the Lincoln cent had been a fixture in American wallets, purses, and cash registers for over 70 years. Its small denomination made it essential for everyday transactions, especially at a time when cash was used far more frequently than it is today. The coin was used for small purchases, paying exact change, and was often found in change jars and vending machines. Its wide circulation means that coins from this year are still relatively easy to find, though the presence of scratches and signs of wear like on this particular coin can vary greatly depending on how it was handled and stored. Over the years, this coin's copper composition makes it somewhat special when compared to more recent cents. In 1981, the cent was still composed primarily of copper with a small amount of zinc. The total weight of these coins was around 3.11 grams. This changed in mid-1982 when the composition shifted to a copper-plated zinc planchet, which was both lighter and less costly to produce. As a result, coins from 1981 are often viewed with a bit more historical value, especially among collectors who are interested in coins with a higher copper content. Some people even collect these older copper cents in bulk for their metal value. Although melting them down for scrap is currently prohibited by law, while the scratches present on this coin do affect its visual appearance, they do not significantly reduce its historical or educational value. In fact, such wear can serve as a reminder of the coin's long life in circulation and the many people who may have handled it. From cashiers and customers to children collecting spare change and machines dispensing it as part of transactions, the coin has likely been part of countless interactions. This kind of everyday use gives coins like the 1980 1 cent a living quality, making them much more than simple objects of monetary value. Each scratch and mark can be seen as a small chapter in the story of its existence. From a collector's standpoint, this coin would be classified as circulated, and with visible scratches, its value would primarily be sentimental or historical rather than monetary. However, for those building a complete year set of Lincoln cents, or studying the changes in minting techniques and materials over time, this coin still holds value as part of a broader collection. It serves as a useful example of pre-1980 to minting, and reflects the design choices and minting standards of the era. Coins like this are often used in educational settings to teach about U.S. history, economics, and the physical science of metallurgy. Next up we have the 1971 Lincoln 1 cent coin is a widely recognized and historically relevant piece of United States currency. As a continuation of the long-standing Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909, this coin features the enduring portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front side. The obverse design created by Victor David Brenner has become one of the most iconic and longest-running images in American coinage. Lincoln's image on this coin represents strength, integrity, and leadership, making it a fitting tribute to one of the nation's most respected presidents. Above Lincoln's head appears the national motto, while the date is positioned to the right of the portrait and the word indicating national identity appears to the left. This specific coin was struck during a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of cents annually to meet the demands of an increasingly cash-driven economy. By 1971, the Lincoln cent was composed primarily of copper with a small percentage of zinc. This copper-based composition remained in use until 1980, when a more cost-effective copper-plated zinc version was introduced due to the rising cost of raw copper. The 1971 coin therefore retains the heavier feel and reddish-brown tone associated with the earlier copper cents. Over time, these coins often develop a darker tone as the metal oxidizes, especially when exposed to moisture, air, and the oils from human hands. As this coin is described as circulated, it has clearly been used extensively in daily commerce. Circulation wear is very common for coins of this age and is reflected in surface marks, flattened details, and a general loss of luster. However, such signs of wear also tell a story about the life of the coin and its place in everyday American economic activity. The reverse side of the 1971 Lincoln cent features the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. The detail in this design includes visible columns and even a small representation of the seated Lincoln statue within the memorial. This reverse was created by Frank Gasparo and replaced the wheat ears design that had been used from 1909 to 1958. The choice of the Lincoln Memorial was not only symbolic of the enduring legacy of Lincoln, but also a reflection of the nation's appreciation for monumental architecture and historical symbolism. The reverse also includes the denomination and the country's name, reinforcing the identity and value of the coin. Despite wear from circulation, these elements typically remain recognizable even when details have been somewhat smoothed by years of handling. This particular coin was minted in large numbers by the United States Mint. In 1970, 1 cents were produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. Philadelphia minted coins carry no mint mark, while those from Denver display a small letter near the date. Coins without a mint mark like this one are from Philadelphia. The massive output from the mints during this period was meant to ensure a steady supply of coinage across the country, and the 1971 issue is no exception. With billions of these coins released into circulation, they became a common sight in pockets, purses, cash registers, and change jars across the nation. Despite their abundance, coins from this year continue to attract attention from collectors, particularly those interested in building complete sets of Lincoln cents. The circulated condition of this coin means it has seen frequent use in everyday transactions over the decades. The wear on the surface is typical of coins that have passed through countless hands and been used in all kinds of purchases. From buying candy and newspapers to being counted out in spare change at grocery stores and gas stations, the 1971 Lincoln cent has likely played its small part in the economic fabric of the country. These experiences are often reflected in the coin's physical condition, such as a duller surface, occasional scratches, and slight flattening of fine design features. Nonetheless, it retains its identity and continues to function as a unit of currency, even if its face value is modest. Although the coin is no longer shiny and may lack the sharpness of an uncirculated example, it still carries with it a historical and educational value. It serves as a tangible link to the early 1970s, a period marked by social and economic changes in the United States. Collectors, educators, and numismatists often use such coins to teach about the history of American currency, the changes in minting technology, and even broader economic patterns. For example, examining coins over the years can reveal trends in inflation, material costs, and design preferences. The 1971 cent, with its copper composition, is particularly interesting when viewed in the context of the coming shift to zinc plankets in the early 1980s. Next up we have the 1980 Lincoln 1 cent coin holds a special place in the history of American coinage due to the significant changes that occurred during that year. This coin features the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the front side, a design originally created by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The obverse design had become iconic by 1982, and it continued to represent ideals such as leadership, integrity, and unity. Above Lincoln's head is the national motto, with the date appearing on the right side and the word representing the nation's name on the left. These elements remain consistent with earlier coins, reinforcing the continuity of the design that had been in use for decades. What makes the 1980 Lincoln cent particularly interesting to collectors and historians is that it marked a major transition in the composition of the coin. Prior to 1982, the penny was primarily made of copper. However, due to rising metal costs, the United States Mint decided to change the composition to a copper-plated zinc planchet. As a result, 1980 cents were produced in both copper and copper-plated zinc versions. The change was introduced partway through the year, so both metal types were minted with the same date. Because of this, 1980 cents can vary in weight and material depending on when and where they were minted. Some of them are slightly heavier due to being made of nearly solid copper, while others are lighter because they have a zinc core with a thin outer layer of copper. The reverse of the 1980 Lincoln cent features the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Created by Frank Gasparo, the memorial design includes columns and the seated statue of Lincoln visible in the center. This reverse replaced the earlier Wheat Ears design used from 1909 to 1958. The use of the Lincoln Memorial as a motif emphasized the nation's respect for one of its greatest leaders and reflected the historical and architectural heritage of the United States. The words indicating the denomination and national identity are clearly inscribed on the reverse side. Despite the design being simple and familiar, it carries deep symbolic significance that has resonated with generations of Americans. The coin being described is in good condition, which suggests that although it has been circulated, it retains a fair amount of detail and clarity in its design. Good condition generally means that the features on both the obverse and reverse are still identifiable, even if there is some minor wear or dulling from handling over time. The lettering and date should still be readable, and Lincoln's profile should remain clear. While it may lack the luster of a freshly minted coin, its overall appearance is respectable and well preserved for a coin that has been in use for several decades. During 1982, Lincoln cents were produced at multiple mint locations, including Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from the Denver Mint bear a small letter next to the date, while those from Philadelphia do not include any mint mark. Both mints produce large quantities of pennies that year, reflecting the high demand for small denomination currency. In everyday transactions, given the two different compositions and multiple minting sites, there are actually several varieties of the 1980 to Lincoln cent, making it a fascinating subject for coin collectors and researchers alike. Some collectors even focus on gathering all the variations from that year, including large date and small date versions in both copper and zinc. The historical context of this coin adds to its interest. The early 1980s were a time of economic fluctuation, with inflation and rising metal prices affecting the cost of minting coins. The shift from copper to zinc was a practical solution to help reduce production expenses. This change marked a turning point in how the United States Mint managed resources and adapted to economic conditions. Therefore, the 1980 to Lincoln cent serves not only as a unit of currency, but also as a symbol of economic adaptation and practical decision-making in government operations. For casual collectors and those just beginning to explore the hobby of numismatics, the 1980 to cent offers a great opportunity to learn about coin varieties and minting practices. Because these coins are still relatively easy to find and inexpensive, they are ideal for hands-on study and collection building. Comparing the weight and appearance of copper versus zinc coins from the same year helps collectors understand the effects of different materials on durability and tone. Copper coins tend to age with a deeper reddish-brown hue, while zinc cents may develop a lighter tone or show signs of corrosion more quickly if exposed to moisture. Next up we have the 1970 for D Lincoln 1 cent coin is an important piece in the long and enduring legacy of American coinage. As part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, this coin carries with it a strong historical background and continued public recognition due to its consistent design and wide circulation. The obverse of the coin features the well-known bust of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, who is celebrated for preserving the Union and abolishing slavery. This design, introduced in 1909 to mark Lincoln's 100th birthday, was created by Victor David Brenner and has become one of the most iconic and longest-running portraits on American currency. The year 1974 continued that tradition by featuring the same profile, showing Lincoln facing right, with clear inscriptions above and around his image. The 1970 for D Lincoln cent was minted in Denver, which is indicated by the small d located just below the date on the obverse. The Denver Mint produced a large number of these coins, ensuring their widespread presence in circulation. The composition of this coin is primarily copper, which was the standard material used at the time. Specifically, the coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This composition would soon change just a few years later in 1980 when the United States Mint shifted to a copper-plated zinc planchet due to rising copper costs. Therefore, the 1970 for D Lincoln cent represents one of the last full copper issues before this transition and is often of interest to collectors who focus on pre-1980 to cents. The reverse of the 1970 for D cent features the Lincoln Memorial, a design that replaced the earlier wheat ears motif beginning in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This updated reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, offers a modern tribute to the president by showcasing the neoclassical architecture of the monument built in his honor. A small image of the seated Lincoln statue is visible within the memorial. When viewed under magnification, a detail that reflects the craftsmanship and symbolism embedded in the coin's design. The reverse also includes inscriptions identifying the country and denomination, making it both a functional and symbolic representation of American heritage. The red shade condition mentioned for this coin typically refers to the original coppery red luster that coins exhibit shortly after being minted. Over time, exposure to air and handling can cause copper coins to darken and develop brown or deep reddish tones. A red shaded coin indicates that it has retained some of its original mint brilliance, which is a desirable trait among collectors. Although this coin may have seen circulation, the fact that it still shows a red tone suggests that it has not been overly worn or tarnished. This preserved coloring enhances its visual appeal and possibly its collectible value depending on the level of shine and lack of surface blemishes. Coins with a red appearance are generally more sought after by numismatists than those that have turned fully brown or show signs of corrosion. The red tone can often be an indicator of limited circulation or careful storage, and it suggests that the coin has not been exposed to excessive moisture or contaminants. For a circulated coin from 1974 to still exhibit this tone is somewhat uncommon, especially since such coins typically pass through many hands over several decades. It speaks to the resilience of the coin and perhaps even to a level of attention given by a previous owner who kept it out of harsh environmental conditions. From a historical standpoint, the year 1970 for itself holds some interest. It was a time of significant political and economic shifts in the United States. Public trust in government institutions was being tested in the wake of the Watergate scandal and other national developments. While these factors do not directly affect the design or value of the coin, they do contribute to the broader context in which it was produced and used. Every coin from a given year serves as a small artifact that connects to the events, technologies, and everyday lives of the people who used it. In terms of mintage, the 1970 for D. Lincoln cent had a very high production number, with over 4 billion coins struck at the Denver Mint. This means that while the coin is not rare in a general sense, specific conditions and appearances can set individual pieces apart. A red-shaded 1970 for D coin with minimal marks or scratches can stand out among others and attract the attention of collectors interested in condition and eye appeal. Even though such a coin may not carry a high monetary value, especially if it has been circulated, its preservation and aesthetic can make it a worthwhile addition to a broader Lincoln cent collection. Next up we have the 1990 to D. Lincoln 1 cent coin is part of the widely circulated and historically significant Lincoln Memorial Cent series. This particular coin was minted in Denver, as indicated by the small d located below the year on the obverse side. The obverse of the coin features the profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This design, created by Victor David Brenner, has appeared on the penny since 1909, marking the first time a real historical figure was used on regular American coinage. The image of Lincoln is a familiar and enduring one, symbolizing leadership, honesty, and unity, and remains one of the most recognized depictions in American currency history. The 1990 to D. Lincoln cent continues the legacy of the Lincoln Memorial design, which was introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The reverse of the coin shows the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., a neoclassical monument that honors the president and serves as a national symbol. This reverse design was created by Frank Gasparo and includes fine architectural details that capture the grandeur of the memorial. Although small, the image includes visible pillars and even a representation of the statue of Lincoln when viewed under magnification. This design was used from 1959 until 2008 and became a standard for several decades of American coinage. In 1990 to the United States Mint produced a large number of Lincoln cents, including the D Mint Mark coins from the Denver facility. This year was not especially rare in terms of overall mintage. Billions of these coins were produced and distributed into circulation as the penny continued to be a central part of everyday commerce. The 1990 to D penny is made primarily from a composition of 97.5% zinc and to 0.5% copper in the form of a thin copper plating over a zinc core. This change in composition had been in effect since 1982, when the mint altered the structure of the penny to reduce the cost of materials. The older cents had been made almost entirely from copper, but the rising cost of copper led to this more cost-effective solution. The coin in question is described as being in used condition, which typically means that it has been in circulation and shows visible signs of wear and handling. Such coins often have smoothing along the high points of the design, such as Lincoln's hair facial features and jacket lines. The fields or flat areas of the coin might also show scratches, nicks, or light abrasions resulting from contact with other coins or surfaces during circulation. The lettering might remain readable, but could lack the sharpness seen in uncirculated or lightly handled coins. Despite this, where the coin still holds value as a piece of monetary and cultural history. While the 1990 to D Lincoln cent is common in terms of quantity, its individual appeal can come from several angles, including historical interest, condition, personal connection, or numismatic curiosity. Some collectors may focus on assembling a complete set of Lincoln memorial cents, which includes obtaining examples from each year and each mint. Others may seek out coins with interesting anomalies, such as die cracks, double dies, or variations in the design. Notably, there is a known variety from 1990 called the close AM variety, where the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the reverse is closer than usual. These varieties are rare and can significantly increase a coin's value, but such features must be confirmed by close inspection or professional grading. Even though this particular coin is used and may not hold premium value in the numismatic market, its role in everyday transactions over the years makes it an interesting object. It has likely passed through many hands, served many small purchases, and participated in countless moments of exchange. Each used coin has a kind of story and presence shaped by its journey through time. Coins like the 1990 to D penny offer a tangible connection to the recent past, when physical money was still a dominant part of commerce and daily life. The presence of the D mint mark links the coin to the Denver Mint, one of the United States Mint's most productive facilities. The Denver Mint has been issuing coins since the early 20th century and is known for its high output and modern production standards. Coins from Denver are generally well struck and consistent, although they may still vary in quality due to die, wear, or planchette flaws. Even in use condition, a Denver Mint coin from 1990 will typically retain most of its design elements unless exposed to extreme environments or mishandling. In educational context, coins such as this can help illustrate economic and design history, civic symbolism, and even technological shifts. The change in the penny's composition during the 1980s and its continued use in the 1990s show how public policy and economic necessity can influence even the smallest units of money. Students and collectors alike can learn from such coins about inflation, cost management, and public perception of currency. They also offer insight into the choices made by artists and government institutions in creating images meant to represent national ideals and identity. In terms of future relevance, the 1990 to D penny is likely to remain common in circulation, although the penny itself has been subject to debate regarding its usefulness. Some have argued that the cost to produce the coin exceeds its value, and discussions have occurred about potentially discontinuing the denomination. However, as long as the penny remains in use, coins like the 1990 to D will continue to play their role. In numismatic circles, even common coins are worth studying for their variants, minting details, and roles in American history.